Okay guys, trying to get this in real quick while there's a break in the traffic. I'm approaching the New Jersey border. Here we go. New Jersey, 7 down. 7 states to go. Delaware River, Delaware Water Gap. All right, guys, 7 down. I'm still trucking. Bye for now. This is the visitor center, but probably due to COVID, it's closed. Kittatinny Visitor Center in Delaware Water Gap on the New Jersey side. I don't know how well you could hear me when I was crossing the bridge and hit the border, but 7 states down, 7 to go. And talk about sensory overload. Oh my God, the trucks on the bridge. Wow. Can't wait to cross underneath and get back in the woods. That's the I-80 bridge across the Delaware River. It's a major artery from the East Coast to the West Coast, so very, very busy. Bye for now. Okay, guys. Yesterday, I stayed at the Church of the Mountain. I had explained when I was crossing Wolf Rocks that I was thinking at the time, should I stay there or not? And I weighed all the advantages to staying there against continuing on. And the advantages were, I would give my tired, sore feet and leg a break, since I just got back on the trail after my 2 weeks off and was kind of struggling actually. The other advantage was I'd be inside. There'd be food options nearby. And they were calling for rain. Well, this is the trail. And yesterday, we had wicked thunderstorms blow through. I'm only a few miles now from where I stayed. We had wicked thunderstorms blow through. Torrential downpour, winds and hail. And as you can see, it could have been dangerous out on the trail. I think I made the right choice yesterday to call it at 6.4 miles and hunker down for the night and take advantage of all the options in town. Funny thing is, happened again. I timed it a little bad on town arrival. Almost every food place was closed. Not funny, but kind of funny. But the place that makes homemade pies and cooks nice breakfast was open. And if I wanted to wait, I could have went to the pizza joint. So I did get food, so that wasn't a big deal. But it was funny that I think 3, 4, 5 places were actually closed. So I recharged with a nice breakfast, went back to the hostel, and since the plan was to give my leg a break, I took an afternoon nap. Then in the evening, my good friend Jeff, who lives not too far away, stopped off on the way home from work, and we went to the 447 bar and restaurant, and he treated me to some awesome trail magic. I had a good dinner, and we had a good time catching up because we've been iMessaging back and forth for years since we got laid off in 2018, but this was the first time we actually met in person. So we had a lot of catching up to do, and it was a really good time. So then he dropped me back off at the hostel. I got my stuff ready and went to bed. Actually, before I went to bed, I spent a couple hours working on videos for you guys. I was up till like midnight, trying to get 3 days worth of videos loaded into iMovie, edit it. Then I have to move them out of iMovie into the iPhone photo gallery. And from the photo gallery, they get moved up to YouTube. Once I'm able to confirm that they're on YouTube, then I move a copy into Dropbox. And once that's in Dropbox and I can confirm it, then it's I'm huffing and puffing a little here, sorry about that. Then it's okay for me to delete everything off the phone, because I have a copy in the cloud and copy on YouTube. And I can only do one video at a time and one action at a time. So it's time consuming depending on the speed of the Wi-Fi. But I got all 3 days up, so that's good. Whew. So after the rocks, and that 8-mile river of rocks in Pennsylvania, I feel good about not being in Pennsylvania. The last 30 miles had so many rocks. And they were just so close together. There's a lot of places, no room for your feet. So just twisting your ankle, left and right, front and back, torquing your knee, tearing up your shoes. So, 2 weeks off and huffing and puffing a little bit. So, what else? Oh, and so I was going to get up at 7 this morning and hit the trail early. Woke up early, so it was too early. Decided to go back to sleep. And then when I woke up, it was after 7. So I was just waking up, and it was actually almost 8 o'clock. So I scratched the idea of being on the trail at 7. So I started getting ready to leave when 12 Below came over and said they were going to back to the place I had breakfast yesterday. They asked if I wanted to join them. So I was like, well, it's so late already. And my other option I was thinking about last night was maybe starting at 10. So I heard I passed my point that I originally wanted to start. So joined them for breakfast. Had a good breakfast. Came back to the hostel. Finished packing up and hit the trail at 10. Which is funny because that's what I was actually thinking I might do. before I switched to 7. Now, run into a couple people since I crossed over into New Jersey here into the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area on this side of the river. So more blowdowns. Been chit-chatting a little bit. People are interested in through hiking, especially when you see an older guy doing it. It's just my body that's old, not my spirit. So I probably spent a good 40 minutes talking to people, but I just feel so relaxed after leaving Pennsylvania and those rocks. I just feel like the weight of a million rocks has been lifted from my shoulders. And I just don't feel an urgency this morning. I'm just moving along slowly and just being happy that I'm out. And that's how it's supposed to be. Not doing this self-torture, which is what it felt like on the 8 miles of rocks. But the only way to get to Katahdin is through hikers have many sayings. And one of them is, embrace the suck, because you're going to find spots on the trail where you're going to be thinking, this sucks. Pardon my language, but that's just the way it is. And those 8 miles, they wear on you when the rocks are like that for that many miles. Plus, I'm approaching 1,300 miles. So I've had lots of rocks to walk on. And a section like that, which was that 8 miles, was probably one of the hardest sections of the entire 1,300 miles. Not because it was steep, but it was mentally hard. Just try and stay focused on your footing for 8 miles. Because you couldn't blink, or there was a chance you could fall down or break an ankle or something during that 8 miles. It was extreme concentration. I'm not going to say there weren't little short breaks in there for maybe 100 feet or less, but for the most part, that one section for 8 miles is very tedious. But what helped me out there was that I was going slow, because I just got back on the trail and I was trying to be extra careful about my knee. Oh, look, we've got some rock stairs coming up. Little bit of history. Back in the early 70s, Delaware Water Gap, specifically the area where I'm heading today, Sunfish Pond area, which is near the Mohican Outdoor Center, was a hangout for old hippies and teenagers, but a big place for the hippies to come. They would come out here to get away from, as they would say back in the day, the man. And they'd come out here and they would party. They would smoke their weed, drink their beer and wine. Just really not bother anybody. They came out here so they wouldn't bother anybody. And they just have a good old time. But it was not the kind of time that society wanted them to be having out here. And plus, it got to a point where it became so crowded and not everybody practiced the leave no trace ethic. And there was just too much trash. So they actually closed the trail down after a couple of years. Didn't affect me because I didn't come out here. I just knew about it from other people. At that time, I would go farther up in New Jersey to a place called Buttermilk Falls, which during the period I went there was still privately owned. And the farmer that owned it did not mind people camping there. So that's where me and my buddies would go, to Buttermilk Falls. And there were some hippies that would show up and hang out there. But mostly that was a small out-of-the-way place with a really nice waterfall. And there'd only be maybe like a dozen people spread out there. So it was pretty nice and quiet and calm. Whew. A few years later, me and my good buddy John decided, let's do a little hike of the Appalachian Trail. So we hitchhiked like 90 miles from home up to Buttermilk Falls. And it took a lot longer than we expected, so we got there just before dark. So we didn't make it to the Appalachian Trail. The Buttermilk Falls Trail is actually an approach trail. So we just set up camp and figured in the morning we'd hike up to the Appalachian Trail. So we're sitting around a campfire, just finished eating. And if you've been around a campfire, the light only goes so far into the woods and then it just kind of fades to darkness. So out of the darkness, a ranger comes walking and starts telling us that we can't be there and we have to pack up right now and leave. So we explained to him, we're hiking the Appalachian Trail and we just hitchhiked here and got dropped off. We don't have a car. We have no way to leave. It's dark out, it's nighttime. Nothing we could do. So he said, okay, I'm just letting you know you shouldn't be here, but I'll let you stay the night. You gotta pack up and get out of here first thing in the morning. We're like, we're fine with that. We didn't know. While he was talking to us, just at that point where the light faded to black in the woods, you could see another ranger standing there with a rifle. So that was kind of a creepy night. And what it is that from the time we were there before until this day, the National Park Service had taken over the guy's property. So you were no longer allowed to camp there. It's a national park property. You can't camp on the approach trail unless you're 200 feet from the Appalachian Trail. We were like a mile and a half or something. So that's why we weren't allowed to be there. Whew. Anyway, that's a little history from back in the early 70s. Oh, I see somebody sitting here. Ooh. Holly Spring. Hello.
1300.
Hey, 1300. Yeah, Holly Springs is 1300. Hey. Whew. Oh, I'm videoing. Do you mind if you're on the video?
Do you need me to get out of your way?
No, no, I just don't want to put you in if you don't want to be in it.
No, it's no problem.
Cool.
If you want me to snap a picture of you, I can.
1300.
Congratulations.
Whew. Awesome.
Yeah. Hard to believe.
I don't know if this is going to show up in the video. I'm trying to get these sparkly rocks. I don't know how well you see this. The lighting is not the best. I'm at Sunfish Pond. The way the iMovie works, sometimes it doesn't actually show the same way that I'm videoing. So I'm trying to move it around so you can get the whole thing. So peaceful and quiet, except for the birds. I don't know if you can see it, but there's lots of little pollywogs swimming around in the water. See some little fish. Beautiful, beautiful. Got a crooked bench there for you if you want to sit down. What do you say, guys? Sunfish Pond. Feeling really good today still. Talked to a bunch of people. I'm back in hiker mode. Feeling good. Enjoying the trip. It's a long, strange trip it's been, as the Grateful Dead would say. keep on trucking. Come on over, smile for the camera. He is coming over.
He is coming
Come
over,
on.
sure.
Come on, buddy.
What is that?
Come on, smile. There you go.
Looks like a copperhead with its pattern. I don't know if they have those up here.
They do.
Yeah.
He's pretty big. Hey guys, first view from New Jersey. Let's take a look. A little river down there. And I am heading that way. And over here, I believe that's Culver's Lake. But don't hold me to that. And if you look that way, and on the farthest mountain you can see, well, maybe not the farthest, but way out there, you'll see some towers. That's where I'm headed, over the tops of all of these. And I am standing on a pile of rocks. This looks like the remains of a fire tower once. There's a metal anchor over here. Probably a fire tower at one time. It's the trail. Okay, way out there you should be able to see a tower. And maybe you can make out a second one farther back. I'll be crossing all those hills heading that way. I think the second one, or maybe, it's hard to tell from here, but one of them might be High Point. We'll find out. Oh, got another view of the lake, finally. There are a lot of views, but mostly hidden in the trees. I think those are fish hatcheries down there. Bye for now.